I love 2D platformers. They're some of the most fun I always have when playing a video game. From Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles to the Donkey Kong Country series to even some independent games like Shovel Knight or Super Meat Boy. They're the type of game that are so addicting and makes you want to get better at them. And the game I'll be talking about next is no exception. Celeste. Without a doubt, a great game. It has some of the most tight, solid, and consistent level design I've had the pleasure to play in a game. And dare I mention the soundtrack? I mean, Lena Raine did an amazing job. It also has some charming characters like Grandma, Mr. Oshiro, Theo, but none come close to the heart and soul of the game, Madeline. A young woman who won't stop at any point until she reaches the top of Celeste Mountain. Her design is cute, she has a good character arc, and overall, a nice protagonist for the game. She'll be going on a wacky adventure, which she will be tested physically. Sure, there's the mean doppelganger, but who doesn't have a doppelganger? I sure have one. It's called Epic Sonic Fan. The tone and story is all fun and games until we reach the end of Chapter 4. Did you know this game has a realistic depiction of a panic attack? I know every piece of media nowadays needs to have a scene where they show a character having a panic attack. Some work, some don't, but yeah, this was just the beginning for the change in tone for the story. In Chapter 5, we get a visual representation of Madeline's psychic. Eyes all over her, Madeline talking to herself. When you look at it past the jumping and dashing and all that, it's not a comfortable level to go through. Once she escapes with Theo, we get to the moment where the game went from good to great for me. The beginning for this chapter is unlike any other from the game. Usually we get like a minute of talking and then we go to the gameplay. Not here though. This chapter is the most narrative focused in the game. Reflection. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This is my favorite chapter in the game, and one of my favorite levels in a 2D platformer. The beginning with Theo's theme playing, Madeline and him talking about their lives, it's honestly great. We even get some Theo lore, let's go! Madeline reminds him of his sister, that's set to climb a mountain and she doesn't even know why she's doing it. Or does she? Well, she doesn't. She's only doing it because she needs to get out of her own head, worrying about things that don't really matter, things that happened years ago. Yes, my dear viewer, Madeline here has depression. Before I knew every single indie game talked about it or had the main character going through it, this was the first time I've ever seen someone going through something similar to what I was going through at the time. Her way of coping was mostly drinking and yell at people on the internet. I'm in this game and I don't think I'm comfortable with that. She explains how depression feels like. She feels exposed, but also claustrophobic. She has this feeling of desperation to find some kind of meaning, fighting with herself, trying to find something, anything. This is something that happens a lot to us, me included. We cling to this idea that we need to do something to give our lives some meaning, like inventing something, creating a piece of art, either being a game, music, or actual art. But it's not like that. It's not always like that. After they talk, Madeline and Theo finally rest, not before they take a selfie, having Madeline, for the first time in the game, genuinely smile. Later that night, we fly across the sky, a beautiful visual. We think Madeline will finally move on, leaving her anxiety behind, thinking it would be that easy, just like many stories that say, you can overcome this with just some magic trick. But then, Madeline attacks. Madeline tries to focus on the feather from earlier, but is unable to. And so... In a literal and metaphorical sense, she's at the bottom. Can I just say how fun this level is? It's the perfect mix of introducing new game mechanics and putting what you know to the test. The level design is varied, there's multiple paths to go, the music is stellar, and it has the closest thing to a boss fight in the game. The Golden Feather is a game changer, and I love it. Speaking of boss, Madeline has an inner fight with herself throughout the whole chapter. Every time she gets closer to battling, the more desperate, the more anxious, and the more insane she becomes. Until finally, Madeline reaches her, and instead of having a moment where she's like, haha, I beat you, you suck, I'm a winner, she hugs her, finally managing to forgive and accept herself as she is. This is where I'll be taking the spot. Just like Madeline, I suffer from depression and have panic attacks from time to time. I used to have a difficult time accepting myself. I used to see myself as a big piece of crap. I used to think that I was nothing, trying to find a meaning. I also hurt a lot of people that care for me, and now I have no way to reach out and tell them I'm sorry. I used to hate myself for so long because of how terrible I used to be. Playing through the game, I realized that I shared a lot of things with Madeline, and that made me both deeply uncomfortable, but also in a way reassured. And for a while, I couldn't tell you why, but now as I'm writing the script, as a 23-year-old, I know I'm still super young, shut up, I can say that I get it. I'm not really good with words, especially when it comes to something serious like this, or whenever I try to be vulnerable, but I'll try. Celeste kind of helped me see my true self, unlike any piece of media, or even real life. In a way, seeing Madeline overcome her own struggles while also growing as a person made me find my own self-worth, and I can't really thank it enough. It's a special game for me, and I know a lot of pieces of media do the whole whoa, mental health story equals deep nowadays, but in a time when I really needed it, I found this game, and instead, and in a way, telling me that everything will be okay. Falling is fine. It's what makes you human after all. But it's all up to you on how you get up. Nowadays, I'm doing much better. I got the courage to talk about my inner struggles with the people I care about, and, well, they accepted me. I am in a much better place, and part of the reason is because this game helped me see my own reflection.